What would people take more seriously if it had a different name? Fanny packs, it could have been like utility pouch, or hell, even keeper would be better than fanny pack. We call them bum bags in the UK. But that's also because fanny has a very different meaning here. In Finland they're called vialaku, which translates to belt bags, and I've always wondered why they're not called that elsewhere. That's what we call them where I am, in Canada. This is not common, for those wondering. Pretty much everyone calls them fanny packs. I'm sure those buying into the latest silly trend of them prefer to call them something else, but everyone else calls them fanny packs. The US military took it a step worse back in the day. A pouch could be attached to the belt, or underneath your larger pack, that could carry all sorts of stuff that needed to be accessed quickly. They called it a butt pack. Junk trunk or booty shooty would have sounded better. MSG should be called savory salt. You could call it organic seaweed extract, and it'd fly off the shelves at Whole Foods. I work at a Japanese restaurant, and for the minds of the patrons we chose not to use any MSG. When people ask about it and I tell them all it is a seaweed extractive, though unused in our kitchens, some people are really shocked. They've been fear-mongered away from it without actually knowing where it comes from. It's in many foods, tomatoes, cheese, meat, anything with a strong savory taste. Rename evacuation zones to death zones. Hurricanes to kill storms. You know, I'd stay to prove how awesome I am, but I really don't want to be in the death zone of this kill storm. The Patriot Act. I know. When I first heard the name it sounded like it was something great, then you read what it does and damn. Exactly why they named it that way. Actually most everything that goes through Congress right now has a flowery, feel-good, and wholly misleading name to hide the terrible shit inside. Citizens United. Radiation burns, not sunburns. Star damage. We should really adopt that here in Norway. We are in the top spot in the world when it comes to skin cancer. Our country is covered in darkness most of the year, so when we come around to summer and get 17 to 24 hours of daylight every day, and about 2 months with temperatures around 13 to 23 degrees Celsius, we go nuts and spend as much time as we can outside. I didn't realize Norway had such a problem with skin cancer. There's a similar phenomenon in England, because it's so drab and grey for most of the year. When the 2 weeks of summer hit, public spaces are filled with lobster red, topless lads, trying to work on their dams. Broom rape, the crop failure that plant genus causes and how dangerous it is because of it, is highly overshadowed by that ridiculous name. Just watch 13 Reasons Why, and you'll find 13 reasons why not to be raped by a broom. 13 Reasons Why flashbacks. Edit, I've never seen a single episode of 13 Reasons Why and all the mentions of the show are both confusing and terrifying. Cornhole. I have a hard time getting people to play. Call it a beanbag toss or bago. It sounds a lot less dirty. Looked up nicknames on Wikipedia. Got beanbag toss, dummy boards, doghouse, dadhole, sacks, beans, beanbag, some help more than others. Dadhole meant something totally different in my house growing up. The game where you throw corn in your dad's hole. It's the same hole. Dad cornhole. Problem solved. Dadhole corn. DuckDuckGo. I think I would use it more if it had a less ridiculous name. Same with GoDaddy. When that first came out I thought it was a porn site. Edit, this whole time I thought that DuckDuckGo was also a domain host. Still though, GoDaddy is terrible. It's not like their commercials did a lot to dispel that notion. Right? I totally remember being a 6th grader and saw a commercial and figured it was cool for porn to be marketed in TV. Was confused when I actually went on the site. GoDaddy's whole marketing campaign was absolutely cringeworthy, like it was dreamt up by prepubescent virgins who found a swimsuit edition Sports Illustrated once. It was probably targeted at those people rather than thought up by them. The Texas Testicle Festival. It's a religious revival and their motto is, "Come have a ball with Jesus." Waterboarding. Sounds like a fun activity for a day at the lake with family. Ah. Yes, drowning torture. I'm gonna go waterboarding in Guantanamo Bay. Didn't some journalist go around asking people about the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, and got different responses from people, like they were two different things? Journalist. So what do you think of the ACA? Person 1. Oh, it's great, I'm all for it. Journalist. And Obamacare? Person 1. It to hell. It was the Jimmy Kimmel crew, not a journalist, but you're pretty much right otherwise. Marijuana strains, especially concerning medicine. People would take a name like Canoxapram much more seriously than OG Unicorn Blood Kush. Edit, for those asking, sorry but not a real strain, thought it would be a good name for a strand while watching Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Are you telling me that Alaskan Thunder wouldn't have been a better name than aspirin? Wouldn't you rather go take some green crack than Valium? Doesn't Granddaddy Perp sound more medicinal than warfarin? If you ask me, Big Pharma needs to catch up to the weed industry. Due to Poe's law, I feel obligated to mention that this comment was sarcastic. I knock down 5 milligrams of Granddaddy Perp every night before bed. Take a trip on the Staten Island ferry. Distracted driving. You're behind the wheel of a 3,000-pound machine and doing stuff like texting while driving isn't taken as seriously as it should be by many people. Texting kills more people than terrorism. But it can't be that bad because I do it and I am awesome. Literally anything kills more people than terrorism. Sleeping kills more people than terrorism. An international security professor I used to do research with once told me that refrigerator accidents kill more people in America per year than all terrorist incidents. School bullying. Bullying sounds like kids just being mean, but peer abuse sounds like a serious problem that warrants legal action. Bullying. Call it what it is, harassment and assault. This. Half the things that happen at school, even at 10% its intensity outside of it, the real world, would require to sue or even imprison someone. In high school, I had a girl that was stalking me after breaking up with my boyfriend, which was her best friend. She gave her entire group of friends my phone number and they all text me death threats. They keyed my car, broke into my locker and stole everything, followed me home every day, threw things at me. When the school got involved and they found out who was behind it all, I had a meeting with the principal and was told I would be expelled if I pressed charges, because of bad publicity. It was literally more important that the school's name wasn't tarnished than it was that I didn't get hurt. That sounds like an invitation to sue. That's even potentially a criminal offense. Fracking. Well, that's just short for hydraulic fracturing, which sounds pretty horrendous. Immediately makes me think fracturing and gives me a mental image of breaking the Earth's bones. Net neutrality, it sounds so boring, and politicians take advantage of it. Call it internet freedom and there isn't a politician alive that would come out against it. You have too much faith in politicians. Indeed. Most of the points mentioned in this thread are things politicians could easily change, but somehow won't. Some because they're paid, others because they're plain incompetent. Net neutrality, a precise expression, completely unpolitical. A decent politician would indeed call it internet freedom. Digimon, because right now it's seen as a Pokemon clone. It's digital monsters, not pocket monsters. Wait a second, Pokemon stands for Pocket Monsters? WTF? I'm enlightened. Yeah. Because once you capture the pocket monsters in your pocket balls, you keep them in your pockets. You keep them on a Batman-esque utility belt. Belt mourns. Lollygagging. What even is lollygagging? I've never heard this used in a proper sentence, so I really don't know what it even means. I don't know what that is, and I'm afraid to Google it. Loitering or goofing off. But if you took lollygagging seriously, then you wouldn't be lollygagging. Life wasting. Planet-wide climate crisis instead of global warming. Hell, anything other than global warming? Maybe, global extinction level catastrophe. Yeah, that would get a better reaction out of people. I can't believe I had to go this far down the thread to find climate change. Seriously. I was thinking the same thing. I was beginning to lose hope. Tisk tisk. The Boys on Amazon Prime. I almost didn't watch it cause of the name, but it damn rules. Child neglect, child abuse, or even child endangerment instead of anti-vaxxer. Domestic bioterrorism. It's not necessarily domestic because it's bio. Sicknesses don't know borders. If Canada has an outbreak, the USA is next, end of story. And if something happens in Europe, may God help them all. Game theory. It is one of the most useful fields for sciencing human behavior, and people think it is about tic-tac-toe. Kias, their newer cars are truly impressive, but just seeing their name on the car immediately makes me lose interest. GIMP. It's a great Photoshop replacement for most of us, but the name is horrible. What's so bad about graphical image manipulation program? GIMP, usually disparaging and offensive. A term used to refer to a person who limps or is lame. From dictionary.com. Why would anyone use a program with a name whose definition was so negative? Also, the G is GNU, not graphical, even though graphical makes a lot of sense there. Uranus. It's like the one planet I cannot discuss with people. Even though I pronounce it Uranus, people will still go, "What? Uranus, lol lol lol." There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if we could become something more. Redditors, subscribe.